Hey everybody, Dr. Jonny Bowden here. Today I'm going to answer the following Quora question. This is Quora question number 1, and it is this. Do carbs increase cholesterol? Now I'll tell you why I think this is such a great question. Because it's a perfect example of when the premise of a question is wrong. And you really can't answer the question without accepting the premise, and the premise is wrong. I'll give you the greatest example of this. My father was a lawyer. He used to use this as a classic example all the time of the premise of a question being wrong. And he would use this example. There's a dentist. He's working on a guy on the chair. The guy has got his mouth open. He can't really say anything except like that. And the dentist says to him, "So tell me, Mr. Jones, have you stopped beating your wife? Just answer yes or no." Well, if you answer yes, that means that you used to beat your wife and you stopped, right? If you answer no, it means you're still beating your wife. But the premise is wrong because the guy ain't beating his wife in the first place. So there's no way to answer that question without accepting a false premise. It's the same thing here. The premise in the question, do carbs increase cholesterol, is that cholesterol is bad. It's a risk factor for heart disease. We don't want anything to increase it because if our cholesterol goes up, we're going to have a heart attack. The premise is wrong. Now, I've spent my life, or at least the last 2 decades of it, writing about this. I wrote a book about it. It's called The Great Cholesterol Myth. I wrote it with a cardiologist named Stephen Sinatra. And there's many, many things we can talk about to explain why cholesterol is not the risk factor you thought it is. Cholesterol, as we measure it today, as most of us know it, is measured as good and bad cholesterol, which is 1950s medicine. It doesn't predict anything. It's the wrong thing to be looking at. So the question about whether carbs increase it is irrelevant. Here's what carbs increase: the risk for heart disease. Very different than if your bad cholesterol goes up. So what we really want to know here is, do carbs increase the risk for heart disease? Not whether they increase your cholesterol, because I don't care what your cholesterol is. I want to know what the real markers are. Your triglycerides to HDL ratio, your A1C, your insulin resistance, all of that stuff really makes a difference. Blood pressure really makes a difference. Cholesterol, not so much. So that's not the question to be answering. The question to be answering is, what can I do to lower heart disease risk? And the answer is to eat less processed carbs, not to eat less saturated fat. This is Jonny Bowden, and I'll answer my next Quora question on the next video. If you like this series, if you like the channel, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next video.